Hello and welcome to Balanced Existence. Today I'm coming on to do a quick tarot reading check-in, especially for those on the twin flame journey who are experiencing a lot of heat. I'm feeling like this hot anger or resentment or friction and perhaps some heartbreak or disappointment or pain, but ultimately it's an ego degradation that is serving your highest purpose. And I want to come on with this tarot reading to channel into some guidance that we might need in this moment. And as I always say, this guidance has to be received through your intuition, not through your mind, not through your ego. So you really need to kind of filter through what you're meant to be hearing. So the oracle cards I pulled are so aligned because I pulled from two separate decks. One card that is the card of gentleness, and from a different deck, I pulled the card, Be Gentle with Yourself. So right off the bat, although I just listed all of those hot, fiery, negative emotions, we are countering that with this beautiful grace and this ability to flow with life's journey because we are choosing to accept rather than to resist. And so being gentle with ourselves is allowing us to have this new birth and this fresh energy as we navigate whatever challenges arise. And you have this within you, and it is simply a matter of choice and practice. The combination of choice and practice is coming through so strongly because ultimately the first step is for you to recognize that you have the power of choice and then to choose that this matters to you. Living a life of peace, living a life of openness to the challenges and the lessons, knowing that they are building upon your inner strength and resilience. When you make that choice of receiving the challenges with open arms, then suddenly your mindset receives a boost where you're now able to have such a healthy and expanded perspective when these situations arise, because you know that you've made that choice and that you have this sense of empowerment moving forward. In combination with that, practice is so important because we aren't going to get it perfectly right every single time. And that is also part of this lesson that we are choosing to receive. And failure and mistakes and regret and all of these egoic labels we assign to things are a natural part of our journey on this earth, in this human body, with this human mind, with this consciousness that we are living through in 3D. So continuing to choose to show up every day, continuing to choose to practice the skills that you are meant to be practicing and developing and mastering, those are the key priorities and values that you are being called to live by in this moment. And again, it's not to say that you make that choice and then it's easy. It's to say that you make that choice and you allow it to guide you one day at a time, 1 hour at a time even. And journaling and reflecting and maybe even talking to loved ones or a therapist, whatever works for you is going to help you so that you can look back on the lessons you've learned, reflect on them, and allow them to assist you in moving forward, to try your best to learn from the mistakes or learn from the lessons, although it's also an inevitable part of the human experience to make the same mistakes over and over again. Sometimes that's just part of how the journey plays out. So having that sense of grace and acceptance that comes with being gentle with ourselves is so key here. We're doing so much inner work, so much growth, so much breaking out of old patterns and limitations. And sometimes I think it's so normalized for us in this collective that we start to just have higher and higher expectations and allow ourselves to feel shame or allow ourselves to feel like we're not meeting the expectations that we need to be meeting, when the truth is that this collective is doing more work, more expansion through pain, through sometimes heartbreak, than the rest of the world will encounter in this lifetime, and maybe even over many lifetimes. You know, we're squeezing so much intense evolution into one life, even into one season or phase of life. It can feel like you'll go through 1 month of intense transformation and pivotal energetic shifts that most people on this planet are barely reaching in one lifetime. And this is not an egoic standpoint of better or worse or some kind of hierarchy of skill. This is just to say that this is the journey that you've been called towards. And so having that sense of acceptance and having that ability to be gentle with yourself and to take a pause and breathe in deeply and to notice how far you have come and how much you have grown and changed. And when you look back at everything that's transpired in your life, and especially your interactions with your twin flame and how otherworldly they sometimes feel, and to realize, how incredible this opportunity is and how incredible it is that you're living this life. If you think back to before you met your twin flame, it can sometimes be difficult to even remember what life was like and to even resonate with that life, or to even believe that that was the same life that you're living right now. The same in the sense that you're in the same body, but of course, energetically, none of it is the same. It was incredibly pivotal and transformational. But to recognize how much growth and evolution you're doing in this life, and to look back on all that has happened, can be such a nourishing practice as we develop that skill of being more gentle with ourselves. And doing these types of practices by looking back, whether it's through journaling or by talking with others and reflecting upon our past, can really help us feel strong and inspired moving forward, because we feel that sense of accomplishment and success that helps us become ready for that new adventure. And when I say accomplishment and success, again, it can be so easy to fall into these traps of feeling shame or feeling like your current reality is not how you want it to be. But that's why it's so important to look at the big picture and see the growth that you've done as a whole, and how it may be so misunderstood by those around you or for the majority of people out there. But you know in your heart, in your soul, you know on a deeply intuitive level that the growth you are doing is of an incredibly powerful energetic frequency. So we're also pulling the oracle cards journey and adversity. So again, seeing your challenges as a gift and recognizing that the storms are a natural part of life. A metaphor I really like to use is, imagine you are a sailor on a ship, and your existence on this ship navigating the ocean is the metaphor for life. There are going to be storms, right? Mother Earth is going to bring stormy nights, heavy winds, lightning, choppy waves. There are seasons where that will arise, and that is a normal part of life. So your role as this sailor is to develop this mastery of your skills that enable you to navigate the storms. And this isn't something you could read from a book. Even if you were on the ship on a calm day, or you're on a ship while it's anchored or in a harbor, you could run through the movements of what you would do during a storm, but you're really not going to develop the skills and the strength to weather a storm until you're in one. You're in the moment, and you have to do all of the steps that need to be done on that ship to keep the ship from sinking or flipping or whatever it may be. So that really is a metaphor for life. And so when we recognize just how normal it is for us to endure storms, then suddenly it doesn't have to be this experience that we have shame about, or this experience that we feel we didn't handle correctly. Instead, it becomes this natural part of life and this natural test where we are being called to develop our skills through that test. And so you're not ever going to get to a point where suddenly the storms go away, but rather you're going to get to a point where you have full inner confidence and knowing that you have the skills and resilience to weather a storm. Even if it's a storm that's different than one that you've ever encountered, you still know that you have the willpower and the commitment to navigating it the best you can. And you're committed to this life. You're committed to doing your best with any lesson and challenge that comes your way. And so that's the power of adversity. And with the Journey Oracle card, it says to focus on how far you have come, not how far you have to go, which is such a synchronicity, because I was just saying, and I just saw 11:11 on the timer as I was recording. I was just saying that it's so critical as we learn to be gentle with ourselves to be able to reflect and look back on how far we have come. The card also says that you will find help in unexpected places. So a reminder that you don't have to do life alone. And even though it can feel like being on the twin flame journey can be very misunderstood, and especially if you're in separation with your twin and you feel like they're the only one who gets you, and all of these egoic stories we tell ourselves, there is hope and help in unexpected places. And this is a reminder to remain open to that. So if that resonates with you, I would really take a reflection on your life. Maybe there are certain friendships or connections that are right in front of you that you could be utilizing more to have a greater sense of well-being. The last card we're getting is anticipation. And I also pulled a couple tarot cards, which are the Knight of Swords and the King of Wands. So the combination of the anticipation oracle card and the Knight of Swords is really speaking to this very active mental energy. The anticipation oracle card says, something wonderful is happening. Change is in the air. Open yourself to blessings on their way. And this is also very much synchronistic with the journey card, where we're saying to be open to help in unexpected places. So there's very much a theme of this open mind, open heart, even the adversity card being open to challenges and lessons. And I also love that this anticipation card is saying change is in the air, because with the Knight of Swords, the swords is of course representing the air element. So again, this mental, intellectual energy being represented by the air element. And it's a very fast moving energy. It's intense, fast action, this sharp, even maybe witty intellect. And it's representing big changes. It's representing bold moves, and it's representing your ability to think clearly. So if you've been going through a time, like I began this reading talking about this kind of hot, fiery, angry, resentful, these are very emotionally charged words. And so if you felt like you've been enduring this period of very difficult, heavy, resisting emotions, the Knight of Swords is coming in to remind you that you have the ability to get in touch with clarity from within, this sense of inner clarity, this ability to use smart and clear thinking to really get to the truth of your feelings, to allow truth to guide your feelings rather than your feelings to take over without this sense of clear understanding. And this will also allow you to have clear and direct communication in the relational sense, whether it's with your twin flame or others, or I'm hearing like boundary setting and, having your needs met. This is going to be really important to call upon that Knight of Swords energy so that you can stand up for what you need. And that's going to move you closer to your goals, because speaking up for your needs is you living authentically. And when you live authentically, you're always going to be that much closer and that much more skilled and capable when it comes to achieving your manifestations. And I'm hearing the importance of the throat chakra as well. So you may want to pay attention, like if you're speaking and you feel like your throat begins to feel tight, then that's a spiritual representation of how you're feeling on a bodily, emotional level. And that can help get you closer to the truth of your inner state. And when you have that understanding, you have more clear thinking, and you're not overcome or completely led by your emotions in a way that's lacking direction or stability. And so that's what the Knight of Swords is going to grant you the ability, is that balancing that fire with the clarity of air. And then to close this reading, of course, we have the King of Wands coming through to represent the fiery, bold leadership of that divine masculine energy. And we began this reading talking about those fiery emotions, and we don't want to be overcome by those emotions, but they are a natural part of life and the human experience. And so it's important that we don't avoid or suppress that fire, but rather we learn to channel it in productive ways. And so embodying passion and confidence and this unstoppable drive and ambition and vision. And this also comes with charisma and charm and that kind of magnetic expression. This is all the energy that you are being called to pull upon. And I'll just relate this to the twin flame journey on a more specific level before we close out this reading. If you are feeling anger and resentment, those are valid. And you are being called to channel that fire into a way that's going to serve your highest good and put you on your highest timeline. So this can be a huge variety of things that it is up to you to intuitively learn and see what resonates. You may be being called to do more creative work. You may be being called to stand up for your needs and work on your goals in life and change something about your environment. You may be being called to pursue a particular business or show up in your business with more leadership and charisma and confidence. There's so many ways that fire energy can be directed, all of which are more productive than the festering that our ego will spiral into as a result of the twin flame journey. And again, I'm not saying to bypass or suppress feelings of anger. They have a place and we want to make space for them. But at the same time, we want to recognize them, and then as we're intuitively ready, channel them into the outlets that we are being called to grow and evolve through. So that is what I have for you today. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that this reading provided you some kind of inspiration or guidance that resonates. As always, I would love to hear from you in the comments, anything that's on your heart to share. I love interacting through the comments. It really gives me a sense of community, and I hope that it does the same for you. And I will see you on the next one. Bye.